Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus at Threshold of Hineni, and I first of all just want to say I appreciate all of you putting up with my swinging camera, upside down pictures, just everything. You guys are all wonderful. Thank you for being so understanding and patient with me as I figure this thing out. Today we are going to do probably it's going to end up being kind of a long video, and feel free to watch it in segments if you want to. I'm going to have to record it all at once, I think. But we're going to do something that's kind of exciting. And there was something that I wasn't going to tell you all until halfway through the actual Abraham study, probably like around July. And I probably still will say this again in July because the people who aren't doing this journal won't hear this. But the way that we're going to be doing this, I'm going to be teaching you a method that you can use for studying just about anything, really. I mean, you can study anything in the Bible with this. You can choose another character like David or Deborah or Mary or, whoever. Or you can choose a topic in the Bible like finances or time management or faith, whatever. Or you could choose a contemporary Christian hero like Jim Elliot or Elizabeth Elliot, or any of the many, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, any of the many heroes of the faith. And you could do a study like this that you could really get a lot out of. You can do something that would be short, like a couple weeks, or something that would be longer, like a couple years. This would work really, really well for studying just about anything. So I hope that that's something that you'll be thinking of as you do this along with us. But I also want to say to you, and this is something that I probably won't say to the rest of the group because I don't want them to feel bad, that by doing this journal, I think that what you're doing is you're going to make this study a lot more effective for yourself, because you're probably already noticing, and you're really going to see today, that it's not just a linear kind of journal where you just journal straight through, but you can add all kinds of extra little side notes basically, because this is a junk journal, or if you're calling it just a journal, because this is a journal that has pockets and fold outs and all kinds of stuff. So today what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple of fold outs, and these are actually pretty easy to do. We're going to use more than the ones that I'm doing today. But the others, well, let me just say, what we're going to do is we're going to have a fold out that will fold out from your journal, one for Abraham and one from Sarah, and we're going to have those on opposite pages from each other. Now, Abraham and Sarah are obviously all the way through Abraham's story, so we can put those any place in our journal. But there's a few other people that I want to do shorter life stories on in the study, such as Eliezar and Abimelech and Hagar and a few others. But those will need to be where they actually take place in the story. So we'll have to wait until we get to that point in the journal to do it. But you'll know how to do it because I've shown you now. And I may or may not do another tutorial when we actually get to those parts. I may just refer you back to this. So I'm going to tell you about several different ways to do this. Mainly it's all the same way, but there are different ways to attach them, and there's pros and cons, and depending on the look of your journal, you might do it differently. So anyway, what we want to do first of all is find a spread in our journal that doesn't already have something on it. And I've decided not to be so picky about my pages, because obviously these have to get used. There's one gal, I think it's Diane H., who sometimes says, don't be so precious about it. And I've decided I need to not be so precious about my coffee stain pages, and I just need to use them. So I think that where I'm going to do this is going to be, I want to do it fairly close to the beginning, but it doesn't have to be like right at the beginning. So I'm thinking, actually this would be a really good place right here. Okay, so what we're going to do, find a spread that doesn't have anything on it, and if possible, doesn't have anything on the back of it yet either, because it'll just make it easier to work with. It's not going to be one page, so we're not probably going to take it out of our journal. We'll probably work on it in our journal. just that it'll be less confusing and we don't lose our place. But it'll be a spread. Does that make sense? I mean, like this is one sheet and this is another sheet, but we're going to be working right here. Okay, so I chose out 3 pieces of coffee stained paper that I'm going to use. These 2 I'm setting aside for our other project that we're doing later, either on this same video or on another, just depending on how long this video goes. Okay, I'm going to push this away for a little while. And I'm going to fold my, well, no, I'm not going to, yeah, I'm going to fold it in half just so I know where halfway is. I'm not going to crease it, just a little tiny bit so that I know where halfway is. And then I'm going to use my ruler to tear it. You can cut it if you prefer. Wow, did I get that like even or not? Okay, and I have to tell you, I had a very frustrating accident right before this all started. And I'll tell you about it when I get to that point, but I'm a little flustered by it. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tear this in half because what I want is half a sheet for each of these. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to add these sheets to this paper, to the spread, okay, like this, so that we have Abraham's life arc over here, basically, his character arc, how he grows and changes as a person and spiritually throughout the story. Okay, and we're going to have Sarah's life arc over here, her character arc. Okay, and those are going to be attached to these pages and they'll be able to fold in. And here on the front you'll say Abraham's journey, and on the front here you'll say Sarah's journey. You open it up and you see their journey. Okay, does that sound pretty cool? All right, so that's what we're going to accomplish today, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, so first I want to decorate these pages a little bit, and I probably won't completely decorate them today, but I want to get them started so that I don't lose track of what they are. And so what I did do a little bit of preparation ahead of time, simply because I knew this would take a long time, and it took me about an hour. And I got most of the letters from one magazine. I did have to go to the Washington College magazine for one letter. I had them all laid out and everything, and then I accidentally swept something across my desk and they all went all over the floor, and so it took me a while to pick them all up, and I'm not absolutely sure that I have all of them. So what I'm going to lay them out, and what they're going to say is Abraham's journey and Sarah's journey. And when you don't have to cut out letters. If you want to just print out some letters on your printer, you could, but I like this look. And I just think it's a lot of fun too. So there's one of my J's, and here's another J. And let me tell you, J's are very difficult to find. Now, what I do is I keep a little box that whenever a magazine comes, including junk mail magazines, I go through and I find anything that I think I might possibly be able to use sometime. And if there's really cool letters or anything, I cut those out too. Okay, now I'll tell you, Q's, J's, Z's, and apostrophe S's are very difficult to find. So when you see those, you want to save them. Oh gosh, I'm feeling like I'm going to sneeze, and that'll be horrible. Okay, so, and then let me tell you also, I'll try to remember to write in the description box who all we're going to have these life journeys for, because, you know, you can start looking for the letters ahead of time, because like there's Eliezar, and so it's like, where are you going to find a Z, you know, so you want to start keeping your eye open for that. And just a tip on that, here's an N, but that could be used as a Z. Okay, turned sideways, right? So if you need to, you could do that. Okay. And I like to not go for uniform. I try to get like all different sizes and colors and everything of letters. So it looks like kind of like a ransom note kind of thing. Anyway, I like that kind of look. And if you don't, that's fine. You can do yours your way. Oops. Oh no, did I just drop a letter? I'm not sure, I might have. Okay, well, if I dropped anything, I'll just leave a space for it. I'm not going to go hunting for it on the floor with the camera running. Besides which, you guys don't want to see my floor. What I do when I'm working on journals is I just let everything, all these little scraps get all over the floor. I mean, I try not to. I try to put them in the trash and stuff, but you've seen we're working with a lot of little tiny scraps, and so they tend to fly all over the place. Well, I finally figured out that it's not worth worrying about while you're doing it, or you're going to spend all your time picking up and cleaning up. And so when I finish a journal, then then I do my sweeping up. Oh, please tell me I didn't lose one of the letters that's like so hard to find. I did. Oh, no. Okay. So what am I missing? Abraham, I'm missing an M. That's easy. I can find an M. Journ, I'm missing an E. That's easy. Wow, I'm missing most of Sarah, and I'm missing the apostrophe S. Okay, but we'll just do our best, and I'll fill those in later. Now, the other thing that I have for these is my picture of Abraham, and I found this old woman that I thought could be Sarah, because she's like 91, I think, when she has Isaac. And then there's this baby who looks like he could be, born anywhere back then or something. So I think that could be Isaac. So I'll use him later on. So I'm going to actually cut these out rather than getting out my my chopping block, my paper chopping block, because if I do that, I will blow all these letters away again. And I'll just, it was so frustrating, you guys. I almost cried when those letters went flying. Seriously, it was just horrible. So sometimes, I'll let you in on a little secret, sometimes when I'm cutting, because I can't cut a straight line to save my soul, I will actually intentionally just kind of like cut curvy lines so that it looks like it's intentionally not straight. Today I seem to be doing okay, even though I've only had like 3 hours of sleep in the last more than 24 hours. So I just finished I didn't teach all night Friday night because I stopped that a week or so ago. And next week is going to be my last all-nighter on Saturday night. So I'm very, very happy for that. Okay, I'm going to trim the corners on these. I'm not going to use my little card. I'm just eyeballing it. And since these are black and white, I'm not going to save the corners either. I'm more concerned about saving those when they're color and have design or something on them. And you're still wondering, why are we saving all these silly little corners, right? Okay, these are going to go into the trash. Okay, so I have those, and then I want to distress them. And I want to turn these this way. I'm turning these half sheets so that the torn edge is towards the inside, because I like this edge where the coffee dye is, where the coffee really got on it. And so I don't want to lose that. Okay, so I'm going to distress these. It's kind of cool. I had told you earlier that I wasn't sure how much we would be doing in the journals before we start the study, because I don't know how much space you're going to take for different things. But I started thinking through it, and I don't think we have to plan that. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit on her face, just to give her face some color. A little of this vintage photo. See that? Isn't that a nice effect? Maybe a little bit more. Where the sun would touch her face. Kind of like blush. Okay, see, that's good. We'll do the same thing with Abraham to give him a little color so it doesn't look completely like a black and white photo. Okay, so it's like, you can be writing along, and then if you have a lot to write, then you can write it on a full sheet of paper and fold it and put it in a pocket or something. What I'm thinking we're going to do, there's a lot of different things that we're going to be doing in this study. Okay, we're going to be doing some word studies. We're going to be doing a timeline. We're going to be looking at the various lives of the people involved, but especially Abraham, and then secondly Sarah. to see the things that they learned and what we can learn from them. We'll have some maps, if I didn't already say that. But we're going to have a lot of life application, because I really believe that every time you open up the Bible, it should change your life. Even if it's just a really small way, it should change your life. And so that's really our emphasis. So, but I also want us to, especially those of us who have the journal, I want us to write out each of the passages by hand, which sounds like a lot, but Abraham's life is only 11 chapters, and some of those are short, and we're not going to, that's over, 15 weeks or so, I think, or 13 weeks. So, if you just write a little bit at a time, it's not going to take that long. You can just type it out if you want, but I think you'll get a lot more out of it if you write it by hand. And we'll talk about that more later. But what we can do is we can write on these pages and then have our application stuff stuck in so that the application isn't as obvious to somebody else who's reading it or something. They have to do a little bit more searching. Anyway, I'll talk about that a little bit more and kind of my thoughts behind that. Okay, so I want to do Abraham, and I want it to say Abraham's journey. So I've got an A here. And this is where, most of the time I use my crafter's pick. I'm not sure which way I think the phone might actually be going. Nope, it's going that way. Okay. I use my crafter's pick ultimate glue for just about everything. But on letters, that doesn't work real well because they're small. So it's just a lot easier to use the glue stick, but you want to make sure, first of all, when you use glue stick, it dries really, really fast. So you want to make sure that you put it on and get it down right away. Okay, you don't want to take a lot of time doing that. And any that smears on the outside is just going to dry up, and then it's not going to be sticky anyway, so that's cool. Okay, and then what I do when I'm doing letters is I do the first letter and the last letter. And that way I know how to space all the rest. Okay, you don't want to get right up to the edge because you're going to be creating a hinge. Okay, and see how I didn't cut these all like perfectly square or anything like that? They're just kind of, they're just like quickly cut out of a magazine. And that's the look that I want. I should probably do the middle too, actually. Okay, so let me do AB. What's the middle? We've got an M. Okay, so that's, okay, so H is going to be the middle. So let's do the middle since it's a long name. Okay, what I'm really, really excited about that I'm hoping to do today, and if not today, then it'll be in the next video, is to put in the pages for our timeline. We're not going to start making the timeline, but just put in the pages. I don't think I got glue on the bottom of that. Okay. This kind of stuff, I don't know if you've been watching my craft table chats at all, but I've shared in those that I've gone through a time lately of being really depressed, and working on my journals has just really, really helped with that. That and the community, the Dear Julie community that I've told you about, has been a real blessing too. It's just really helped me come out of that depression. Okay, so here we have Abra, and the M is going to take up some space, so I'm leaving extra space for the M. And that's the other thing too. You don't want to measure this. You don't want it to look all perfect. Okay? We don't want it to look factory made. Okay, so I'm just missing my M that fell someplace on the floor when I swished. So it's there someplace. And then we're going to put in journey, and I'm missing an E. M and E are easy to find, so that's not a problem. J, this J came from the Washington College magazine, because I could only find one J that was a decent size in the Men's Health magazine that I cut up. My son, For some reason, his Men's Health magazine has been coming here, and he said to just throw it away. Well, you know, I can't just throw anything away, so I go through looking for letters and words that I like, and pictures, and mostly letters and words. Like I found, well, I don't know, I'm in the middle of this, but I found some cool words and letters. Okay, so O-E-N-U. Okay, so R is the middle of journey. Let me get my R. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? I'm gonna put that in the middle. And see, I got a big glob of the glue, the purple glue, so I'm gonna put it on the bottom of this one. I mean, it'll dry and not be sticky, but you know, it doesn't need to be sitting there. I can use it. I'm getting it on my thumb as I'm doing this. My fingers get so sticky when I'm doing this stuff. Okay. And I'm not going to get up and wash my hands in the middle of this, so I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see. Can you guys hear all my mumbling, or am I just like not making any sense? Okay, so there's the U. There's not really quite enough room for it, so I'm going to put it up. And then I will fill in the E later. Okay, and I'm going to make the N go up too, since the U's up. Just kind of. Okay, so that's what that looks like. It's going to have the N-E-Y there. I don't think I'm going to put Abraham on it yet. I'm going to do the decorating later. So I'm going to set him and Sarah aside. And I'm going to set this one aside while I do Sarah's journey. Now I'm missing most of Sarah. I have all of journey though. Okay, so Sarah, S-A-R-A-H'(S). So there's 6 letters. So this is almost in the middle, but not quite. The R. Okay. A-H. I got a Honda H. I thought that looked kind of cool. You know, and the thing is, you guys, like, I mean, like, we know this is a Honda H. Maybe you don't. Maybe I probably wouldn't if I hadn't cut it out myself. But some people would. But you know what? Your great grandkids, when they find this, aren't going to know that. They're just going to think it's a cool H. Or my great grandkids, anyway. Okay, so R is the middle. So I'm going to put that on. Ugh, what a mess. I need to have wipes or something in here, or something to wash my hands with. There's R. And see how I smeared some of that purple glue, but it's going to dry up and you won't see it. And N. Okay, so actually rather than, well, no, you do need to put the last ones. Never mind that I even said anything right now. Okay, I was about to say, just in case anybody else thinks of this, I was about to say, actually you should probably just start with the middle letter and then work your way out. But the problem is you do need to do your first and last letters, especially of a long name like Abraham, because you want to make sure that you're not going to go out past the edge of your paper and that you're not going to run into where you're going to have your hinge. Okay. All right. So here we go. I'm going to put my U. And I don't know, you guys, are you like crafting along with me, like watching what I do and then stopping and doing it yourself? Or are you watching the whole video and then going and doing it? Maybe you could let me know. I'll probably have all of these recorded by the time that you do this, but it'll help me for the future so that I know kind of what to do here and how to do it. Because I'm figuring if you're crafting along with me, then it doesn't hurt that I'm taking a lot of time to do something, because it's taking you that time too. But if you're sitting watching, then this could be really, really boring. Okay, so that's Sarah's journey, or journey. Okay. We've got all that on, and that will stick really well. Okay. One thing on the glue stick, don't use a cheap glue stick. I mean, Elmer's is really good, and this washable school glue stick seems to work really well. Yoo-hoo or some people say Yahoo. UHOO, I think is how you spell it. Glue stick is the one that I see most people using, and that's probably what I'll get when I've used up all 6 of these giant ones that I have. But if you use like the cheap like Dollar Tree version and stuff, it does not stick for more than a couple days. So I did learn that. But I used this glue stick on my very first junk journal, which was really small. It was like maybe 10 pages and it was like this big. I just did it with glue stick, and I gave it to a friend of mine, and I asked her, I don't know, a couple weeks ago or so, if it was holding up okay. This is not. And she said it was. She said nothing's come apart yet. Now, I don't know if she's just being nice or if that's the truth. I hope it's the truth, because then that's a good sign for this. Okay, I also debated possibly sewing all these on, but man, that would be a pain, and it really would have taken a long time. Okay, so that's what those are going to look like, and it's going to be here, it's going to be closed, okay? This is how it will look closed. Then it's going to flip open like this. So what we need now is we need a hinge. And I decided that I'm going to use this paper for my hinge, and I'm going to tear it in half lengthwise, so I have half for Abraham and half for Sarah, and that leaves it about an inch wide, I think. I'll measure it in a second, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't need to be exact. Yeah, it's an inch wide. Okay, now here's what you're going to do, and you guys, this is so easy peasy, is you're going to, this is the side that I want to show. Okay, I'm going to fold it in on itself and fold it in half and crease it really, really well. So crease it, and then like I run a ruler along it because I want it to be really well creased. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. This is the side that I want to show, and I'm going to crease it in on itself. Now, you can use tape, Scotch tape if you want, but I will tell you that I've heard people say that a few years down the road that Scotch tape stops sticking, and we want this to stick. So I am going to use my glue, and that seems to be like the agreed upon thing. The other thing that I've seen people like Gail Agostinelli use, and I think that she's very careful to use things that are going to be effective, is washi tape, but she glues it with the glue stick. So it's really strong and it stays on. So that's another possibility. Okay, but I'm going to use my glue. Okay, so I'm going to set Sarah aside right now. I'm going to work on Abraham. And you know what? I am going to take the page out to work on. It's just going to be easier, and I don't have to worry about getting glue on other things. Okay, so I'm going to put Sarah's right there. Okay, so we want it to go in this way. So open, it's going to be like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue on one side first, put it down, and then glue on the other side and put it down. All right, does that make sense? So this is my back side that I don't want to have showing. I didn't even check to make sure it's the right size for the page. It doesn't have to be the entire length of the page, but it should be most of it. And you can do this with other things too, like, you know, like if you're writing on a